Bum ba 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 bum ba ba bum 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 ba 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 bum ba ba bum ba ba bum 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 ba 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 bum ba ba bum ba bum 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 ba 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 bum ba 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 bum ba. I'm going to be 100% honest. I've had this jacket for about 3 to 4 years already, and now I finally realize this shit's fucking tight on me. Star Wars The Force Awakens. Directed by Mr. J.J. Abrams, came out in December of 2015. My God, it's really been that long. I was in the beginning of 8th grade, finally the end of the very first semester. I'll never forget. We were about to go into Christmas break. No, as a matter of fact, I think it was the last day before we entered into Christmas break. With all my pals, the first time we started this grand tradition to go to see every new big movie coming out, specifically every big Star Wars movie coming out. To go check it out every year to see what is up in this brand new franchise that we never thought would ever even dare to return. And now, it's back in all its glory. It's been back for about 4 to 5 years, and now it's getting its grand finale. The end of this great trilogy that has already surprisingly started Civil War without even coming out. You gotta love a fan base. It's amazing. Why can't we get a fan base like Marvel, man? Anyway, here's what I thought about the movie. So I just rewatched it now for officially the 20th, 25th time. I'm in definitely in the 20 zone. But when its grand return came, I was all in the hype. I was there when the first teaser came out. I was there when reading the newspapers. I was a huge nerd. Yes, I was that much of a dork, even when I lived back in Peru, that I was reading the goddamn newspaper. But you know what? I am proud I did, because I was one of the first and only people to spread the news that Star Wars was coming back. People thought I was crazy. People thought I was making this shit up. But I was one of the very few kids that could understand what buying a company meant, what buying the rights to something meant. And I learned those words from the very article. Disney buys Star Wars, confirming brand new trilogy of brand new 3 movies coming out in 2015 with its first one. I'll never forget that. But the hype was undeniable. And guys, watching it again, I understand that maybe a lot of nostalgia could take over. Yes, let's get first things straight. I am clearly a big Star Wars fanboy. I'm confident. I've analyzed the shit out of it. I've just seen it again and analyzed every single scene. Even paused a lot of moments to rethink it again. Guys, this movie was fantastic. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't perfect. It had its issues, not specifically in Last Jedi issues where there's big story flaws or scenes or sequences that just don't work and don't fit with the rest of the film. It really has just the classic, what I think Marvel perfected the best. It's just a classic, great, formulaic film. Now, I know people hear the word formula and instantly think, oh, that's terrible. It's usually like it's almost like a bad word in the film industry, especially when it comes to writers. Formulas, as easy as they are to write, it's the reason why people are usually despising them or don't like to stay away from them. It's a formula. It's meant to be easy. It's almost like a fill-in-the-blank kind of thing, and it makes it fun, easy to enjoy. It's proven to work because it's been tested before. There's nothing wrong with that, but, usually people like the most common thing to do to make a grand, unique, original story is twist up that formula. Twist it up and see, add new ways to make it work. Kind of like what The Last Jedi was going for, that everyone absolutely loved, and nobody did anything like some death threats to innocent actors and claim that the company raped their childhood and did any petitions to restart. Nothing at all. But it's not even to say that the whole film was outright formulaic. That's also equally as ridiculous to say. They still take a lot of creative freedoms, and what everyone has called The Force Awakens, now that it's been years, obviously, since its release, I think the best common general term I heard about this film, I think fits very perfectly. It's a build-up film. It builds up an introduction, not just once again to this world and for people who've never seen it, but an introduction to this new trilogy, to this new end of the saga now that it's coming to end. It introduces us to what are the new characters now, what is this new world, what is the new conflicts we face, and what is the possibilities of where it's going to go. That is a lot of what this film really does. And at its best, it perfects that. It shows us the mysteries of what's happened. One of my favorite sequences now that obviously this is a retro review, and I'm pretty sure every single person that's watching this, I hope has seen The Force Awakens. I feel like most people watch my videos are kind of nerdy as I am, so that you've probably seen The Force Awakens a good 3 times at least, as I have, in theaters. We don't want to talk about them in time I've seen this by myself. But intro sequence to Rey. I think it's one of the greatest intros that have been done in the Star Wars saga, and one of the most impressive ones on a technical level. It shows that hopefully my nostalgia glasses aren't just kicked in the whole time. What I love absolutely about this scene, what's always inspired me, is my favorite rule of filmmaking that I think is the number one thing that always works. Another classic idea of a great formula. Show, don't tell. A common thing used in filmmaking, because filmmaking is a visual storytelling. And the best thing to use with that visual storytelling is use the visual part to its limits. Take it to the max as much as you can. And that sequence where Rey is on Jakku and you just see her world and what she lives like and the things she has to go through is just outstanding. It's incredible. I'll never forget when I first saw it in theaters. When you even saw clips of it and bits of it in the trailer, it was absolutely shocking and exciting. But seeing it in theaters, people were... I'll never forget. Like I said, the hype was real, and for my theater, it was insane. It wasn't anything exciting because obviously she was a new character, so you can't really build that love and excitement for her when you're discovering her for the first time. But what was so amazing is just the way it was handled. It was so geniusly done with this great buildup of how clearly this place that she left that seemed just like a desert and people were assuming was something like Tatooine was this grand junkyard of a battle that clearly has taken place before, with the remains of the AT-ATs and the Imperial Walkers, which could easily be viewed as just nostalgia. But what I appreciate so much that from what the other nostalgia shown in this movie is that it's just done in such a unique way. It's clearly not just showing, remember this, remember how awesome that was. It's also showing something has happened with the things we loved before. It's clearly something big has happened in this supposed to be brand new planet. Something's up. Something different has happened since the last time we left this world. And that's what I love so much about that sequence. It's absolutely excellent. And John Williams' score does help admittedly. I have for years had the Rey theme stuck in my head, and to hear it again on my screen, it was just... Seriously, like, it's so well done. And that's what most of the film is like that. There's so many incredible sequences. That's just one of them. The Millennium Falcon fight is absolutely incredible. That one shot, that one scene where Kylo Ren stops that blast, everyone talks about that, where and then it just Poe and everyone, Poe's taken by those guards, and it's just getting a close-up of how insane that is, and he just stopped a blast, and it shows the ray of how strong it is, of how the Force is controlling that. It's, so many things are amazing. But, yes, the biggest fault of the film, without a doubt, is that, fair point, it borrows a lot of what A New Hope already did, specifically. It's the classic Star Wars formula, a lot of it that's being used. There's nothing wrong with that, and that doesn't make it the worst film of all time or garbage because it borrows a formula. If that were the case, every other Marvel movie that isn't Guardians of the Galaxy and Winter Soldier, Civil War, Endgame, and Infinity War, no, not even Guardians of the Galaxy fits in there, would be absolutely garbage because all those films are literally formulaic films. They borrow from formulas that have been done before. Formulas isn't the problem. It's the problem, the biggest problem that it has with formulas is you want to do something more interesting, but it doesn't make them bad. They work for a reason. They're formulas. They're used for a reason. I do wish, though, like everybody else, obviously, when you still always wish that a film could be better, especially in a franchise that's proven to be the greatest of all time at some points, that you wish it could try more unique things. But, in its defense, it was the introduction film. And especially when people are already freaking out from the beginning, and you can imagine nowadays, of how Disney was buying it, and George Lucas wasn't working on it anymore, especially at that time, the last big thing we got for Star Wars was the prequel trilogy, so people weren't very trustworthy of of Star Wars film again. They were very nervous. They wanted to play it safe. And definitely, without a doubt, despite some moments that really go for that big, brand new, exciting thing, a lot of it is played safe. Nothing wrong with it, but yeah, especially I'm watching it again, without a doubt, my favorite parts of all the movie is definitely the first half. For me, the first half is the one that takes the most risks or tries the more unique things. The Rey sequence is in the beginning. A lot of the introductory stuff is done perfectly. The scenes where we were revealed how capable Kylo is. The stuff that we see of... I'm trying to think all over again. I just watched it. Exploring more about Rey and the planet of Jakku. Seeing again how Han Solo's done after that. And ironically watching of how so many people complain about Luke doing this. How Han Solo is no longer so optimistic and so happy with the rebellion. And this grand idea of fighting the evil with good. And believing in hope and all this stuff. Exploring what has happened. And in unique ways. The second half is really more about remember this stuff and reliving and doing things that have been done before in a great way with some new characters sprinkled in. But, for example, the ending battle on Starkiller Base, classic A New Hope, Battle of the Death Star was just new characters and bigger shit. I loved it, by the way. And, one thing I always bragged about is that as a kid, I'll never forget, I always imagined in my head, what if there was a Death Star, but can blow up more planets at the same time? It was always a stupid idea as a kid. And when I saw it in The Force Awakens, when I was a few years ago, I'll never forget how excited I was, where I was like, hey, that was my idea. That's my idea. They're using it on the big screen. I always loved that. It was always exciting. But yeah, admittedly, it is pretty lazy. You can even show how my brain can be pretty stupid and lazy sometimes. But hey, it's fun. It works. Just wish you'd try something else. And that's really all The Force Awakens is. It's, at its best, a grand introduction to this new trilogy that now is soon coming to its end. And its worst parts, it just borrows a lot of a great formula that has been used before and makes you wish they could try bigger, better things. But it was a grand introduction to this new trilogy, and without a doubt got people excited for way more. And it was something that, to this day, looking back and watching it again, brings me so much joy to my heart. The Force Awakens, in conclusion, was such a great film, bringing us back into the Star Wars universe with a grand introduction and, at its best, incredible moments to show what this new world was about and exploring these new characters that we have. With its faults being that a lot of it can be borrowed from the classic Star Wars formula that we've seen before, making you wish it did just a little more better. I was almost so close, honestly, right now to give this movie a 9 out of 10. It's crazy how many times I've rewatched it, and I've said, this movie could have easily been a 9 out of 10. It just went a little more to try to use the formula in unique ways. But, still a damn great movie. For me, this movie has without a doubt earned a solid, great 8.5 out of 10. Great movie, a great time. Just in a fantastic time to watch it again. What a way to hype myself up to continue to The Last Jedi, and then soon to Rise of Skywalker. Guys, this was my review of The Force Awakens. Now, I know, I guess, I didn't really want to talk about this, but, I mean, it's really annoying to just pretend that you're blind or turn a blind eye to big things that are especially happening, especially when you're talking about something as I'm passionate about as Star Wars. I'm very involved in the community. I'm very involved in the fan base, as any other fan can be. And as I mentioned as a joke earlier, the Civil War has already started for The Rise of Skywalker, and either some people, once again, ironically even harder this time, are calling it the worst film of all time, the greatest film of all time, while the middle people are just saying, the movie hasn't even fucking come out yet, and even some people that have already seen it saying it has problems, but it's the worst movie of all time, serious, is just becoming chaos. And it's just something that the fan base has been suffering for the last couple of years. Ironically, The Force Awakens, I think, was the last year that the fan base was just at that one stable point. I'd say Rogue One was at that last true stable point where it was like, hey, nothing amazing, but that's fine. It's okay. You don't have to make it amazing. You guys have known my philosophy for years about filmmaking. I celebrate 7 out of 10s, which to a lot of people, that's probably crazy. That's insane. It's like, how can you celebrate just a solid C? That's terrible. My parents freak out when I talk about school, and one day you get that C on that test. How could you be happy for that? I'd say to be happy that a film got made in the first place and such incredible ideas to be attempted, but for it to not even be necessarily bad, just had some problems that could be fixed, that's all fine. It's fine. I'm so happy with The Force Awakens, still loved it, and was happy to see it clearly for the 25th time now, and it wasn't the perfect film. You don't have to be. I understand to a lot of people, even in my heart, I was even thinking about this admittedly in my head in the back while doing this review again. It is really easy when you're in love with something as much as, for example, I am with Star Wars. Clearly, look around my room. What did you guys think of The Force Awakens? What are your thoughts on this movie? What is your thoughts even in the whole trilogy that now it's coming to an end? What was your thoughts on this brand new sequel trilogy that has come and it's already ready to pass? Are you excited for the future? Do you think they could have done things definitely better? I definitely do agree with that. Do you think it was the worst thing of all time and it was the biggest mistake in Star Wars and they should have ended it after the prequels? I want to hear your thoughts. It's going to be a really fun debate. Either way, I can't wait to see the ending of this trilogy, and I just hope to God, like everyone, that at least is a solid film that just does justice to the Star Wars franchise. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed this review. This was so much fun to do for me. And may the Force be with you. Have a great day. I gotta end it my way.